You know the feeling, that chill, that beat of silence before everything explodes. Because in One Piece, some characters don't just appear, they shift the atmosphere. The air changes, the world pauses. And suddenly you're staring at someone who doesn't need to say a word to tell you who's in charge. This isn't about power levels, it's about presence. The kind that makes everyone stop and look. The kind that lives rent-free in your memory, years after the episode aired. So let's talk about those entrances. The ones that didn't just shake the battlefield, they shook us. And if we're starting anywhere, we start in the sky, with a man who fell like a meteor and stood like he owned the storm. Kaido's sky jump entrance. We open on a sky island, the Balon terminal, high above the clouds. The narrator doesn't introduce a hero. He introduces a problem. A pirate who has been defeated 7 times, captured 18, tortured again and again, but could never be killed. Kaido stands silently at the edge, staring down from 10,000 meters. Then he jumps. No dialogue, no hesitation, just silence. And then the fall. Below, on a ruined island near the New World, the Kid Alliance is regrouping. Kid, Apu, Hawkins. Suddenly the sky rips open. Boom. Kaido crashes into the ground, forming a massive crater. Shockwaves knock everyone back. Trees are flattened. The entire terrain shakes.
強き者は生き、弱き者は死ぬ。この世はただそれだけだ。
And then, he rises. Not injured, just annoyed. It's not working. Curse you, Joker. The world doesn't need 2 big shots like you. He wanted to die. Again, and failed. Again. No speech, no declaration of war, just Kaido, brushing off dust, ready to cause chaos. He doesn't even care who these pirates are. He wants one thing, a war big enough to finally kill him. That's how Kaido enters One Piece. But while Kaido's arrival is all chaos and weight, the next entrance stops time with silence, and one name alone brings the war to its knees. Shanks arrives at Marineford. The war is chaos. Fist against fire. Ice against quake. Marineford is breaking under the weight of power, fury, and loss. Whitebeard dies standing, Ace is gone, Akainu's rage burns red and unstoppable. And then, everything stops. He steps forward, and magma rises to meet him. Akainu strikes. Shanks doesn't flinch. He draws his sword and blocks the blow. Magma meets Haki. Heat meets will. Not through rage, not through power, through intent. The kind that says, this war ends now. A ship appears on the horizon, not charging forward, but carrying calm. The red-haired pirates, entering as if walking into a conversation, not a war. Leading them is Shanks. No drawn blade, no roaring challenge, just presence. If you still want to fight, then fight us.
まだ暴れ足りない奴がいるのなら来い俺たちが相手をしてやる
That's all it takes. Even Sengoku, battered and grieving, nods. He accepts.
構わん元帥殿終わりだ
Shanks doesn't linger. He approaches the fallen, Ace and Whitebeard, and says only, let us handle the rest. No speeches, no glory, just silence, respect, closure. He didn't come to conquer. He came to stop the world from falling apart. And just as calm settles in, a sound returns to the sky. Laughter, unbound, wild. Because next, freedom awakens. And its name is Gear 5. Luffy awakens Gear 5. Kaido's final strike lands. Luffy lies still. His eyes fade. The drums of liberation begin to echo. Soft at first, like a memory, then louder, building with rhythm. Not war drums, not rage, but joy. From deep within the skull dome, Luffy's heart beats again. Off-tempo, strange, free. Zunesha hears it from afar and knows instantly. Joy Boy has returned. Luffy rises, not with fury but laughter. His hair turns stark white, floating as if the air itself can't hold him down. His clothes twist into something ancient yet new. His eyes glow with childlike energy. There is no fear in them, only freedom. He's not just rubber anymore, he's something else, something the world forgot, but the five elders feared for centuries. The true form of the Gomu Gomu no Mi, the Hito Hito no Mi, model Nika, a mythical Zoan fruit once lost to time. He doesn't roar, he laughs. Kaido watches, confused. This isn't power, it's absurdity, and yet it works. Luffy stretches like ink on paper, dodging Kaido's swings with impossible flexibility. He grabs the Emperor's massive body and slams it with a grin, bending the air like it's made of springs. Kaido breathes fire. Luffy responds by grabbing the ground and pulling it up like a rubber blanket. The flames bounce off it like a slapstick trick from another world. Reality doesn't just bend around him, it plays by his rules now, and above it all, he's still laughing. This isn't a transformation. It's not rage, vengeance, or strategy. It's joy, pure, unfiltered freedom in motion. Gear 5 isn't the strongest form of Luffy, it's the truest. And as his laughter shakes the heavens, one thing becomes clear. The warrior of liberation has arrived. But just as one legend rises, another returns to remind the world what true fear feels like. At Elbaf, Shanks doesn't flex his power. He ends a future in a single swing. Shanks stops Kid at Elbaf. A storm gathers over Elbaf, and on the horizon, the Victoria Punk charges in. Kid stands tall at the bow, confident, reckless, ready to rewrite the order of the sea. Around him, metal swirls, magnetized by his power. He isn't here to negotiate, he's here to conquer. Shanks watches from the shore. He sees it coming, all of it, not through instinct, through observation. He asked Yasopp to lock onto every movement. He tapped into future sight, and what he saw was massacre. Kid's damned punk spins into formation, a railgun of destruction building pressure by the second. The red-haired pirates don't panic, because Shanks is already moving. No wasted breath, no warning, one strike. His sword slices through the wind, through Kid's charge, through every ambition packed into that moment. Kid and Killer fall instantly, unconscious, overwhelmed, erased. The battlefield freezes, and then the roar comes, not from Shanks, but from giants. Dory and Brogy appear behind him, ancient and furious. Their combined attack tears the Victoria Punk in half. The sea swallows it whole. Kid's fleet is gone. No survivors, no second chances. All that power, all that promise, vanished in seconds. Shanks doesn't smile. He doesn't celebrate. He just walks away. Because for him, this wasn't a duel. It was prevention. And now that silence falls again, footsteps echo in a darker room. A collar snaps. A shadow walks in. And even the pirates hold their breath. Rayleigh has entered the room. Rayleigh's auction house entrance. The human auctioning house on Sabaody is in total disarray. Shouts of world nobles' commands echo through the hall, while pirates and slaves scramble in fear. Amidst the chaos, Cammy, bound by an explosive collar, trembles as it beeps ominously, the countdown to catastrophe ticking away. Suddenly, an old man emerges from backstage. The coding mechanic, Silver's Rayleigh. He approaches with calm precision, eyes steady, handling the situation with the finesse of someone who's done this 1,000 times. Without a word, he grasps the collar firmly, calculating the moment just right. With a swift snap, he frees Cammy, launching the explosive device away, and it detonates harmlessly on the floor. Silence blankets the room. As the smoke clears, the crowd stands speechless. What just happened? Hatchin murmurs, "That's Haki," sensing the invisible power at play. Before explanations can follow, Eustace Kid blurts out, "That's the Dark King, Silver's Rayleigh." Rayleigh merely shrugs it off with a wry grin. "Just a coding specialist nowadays," he downplays. Rayleigh kneels to Hatchin, offering a gentle reassurance with a nod. "Thanks for saving my old friend," he tells Luffy, Hachi saved and now freed, and suggests their conversation can wait. Meanwhile, outside, Marine forces tighten their grip on the building. Then Rayleigh steps back into the shadows. He's done what was needed. "Meet me at Grove 13, he advises as he slips away. The rest must handle their own escape. With Cammy, Hatchin, Papag, and the Straw Hats united, they break out through sheer will. Cannon fire rains down, and the three supernovas, Luffy, Kid, Law, unleash their devil fruit powers to hold the line and vanquish the blockade. Katakuri's Oath, a battle fought with honor. The mirrored expanse stretches endlessly. Within its distorted reflection, Katakuri and Luffy collide, fists charged with haki, intensity crackling with each strike. Yet amid all the chaos, something more profound stirs beneath the surface.
攻撃には気配がある。
黒い。
Then, unexpected interference. Flomp, Katakuri's meddling sister, bursts into the fray. Her attack lands on Luffy, tilting the fight. Katakuri sees it, not separately, but through the lens of his own warrior's creed. He turns, steps across the glimmering surface. Approaching his sister, Katakuri grips his trident, Mogura, with unyielding calm, in the very place Luffy was hit. Katakuri drives the blade into his own stomach. His blood spatters, a physical testament, no shortcuts. This fight stays fair. Flomp recoils, horror and disbelief twisted on her features. But Katakuri, for whom honor is worth more than perfection, does not flinch. He discards his scarf, revealing his face, stripped of pretense. I don't want you interfering, he says with measured fury. He then turns away, and with nothing more than a look of cold clarity, silences the surrounding distractions. With but a nod, Katakuri and Luffy unleash their Supreme King Haki together, smashing through Flampe and her accomplices in a wave of crushing power. Battle lines reset, respect renewed. The duel proceeds, now pure, man to man, on equal ground, words unnecessary. The next entrance would drown it in sheer overwhelming force. Because when Shanks sets foot on Whitebeard's ship, his conqueror's haki alone knocks half the crew unconscious before a single word leaves his mouth. Shanks' conqueror's haki on Whitebeard's ship. The Moby Dick cuts through the waves, its deck filled with the strongest crew in the world. Whitebeard sits towering on his throne, 4 tubes running from his chest, his commanders gathered around him, and then a new presence approaches. Shanks steps onto Whitebeard's ship. The boards creak, but the sound is drowned by something else. The air itself tightening, pressing down on everyone present. Half the men don't even realize what's happening until it's too late. One after another, Whitebeard's crew collapses to the ground, their eyes rolling back, foaming at the mouth. The weaker members are unconscious instantly. Even veterans grit their teeth, fighting to stay upright. This isn't an attack, it's not even deliberate. It's the natural overflow of Shanks's will, his conqueror's haki unleashed simply by walking across the deck. Shanks doesn't look at the fallen, he doesn't apologize. He walks forward with the calm of someone who knows exactly what his presence means. At last, he stands before Whitebeard. Their eyes lock, one scarred legend staring down another.
誰にも止められなくなるぞ。暴走するこの時代を。恐れるに足らん。ほら、白ひげだ。
The clash of their weapons tears the heavens open. Clouds rip apart, the sea churns, and every man watching knows this is no ordinary meeting. It is a reminder that the balance of the world rests on the shoulders of men like these. Shanks's haki doesn't just knock men down, it suffocates the battlefield with the weight of possibility. And this time, that possibility is war. But while legends split the sky on the seas far above, thunder gathers in a land of clouds, and something untouchable begins to descend. Enel's arrival, a storm of authority. The grand hall of Enel's palace seethes with discord. The three priests, Gadatsu, Om, and Shura, are bickering amongst themselves, each vying for supremacy. No celebration, no divine decree, just the clashing voices of competition. Suddenly, in mid-chaos, a bolt of lightning rips through the sky. From the flash, emerging with preternatural calm, is Enel. He descends slowly, electricity coiling silently over his form. The priests fall still. The air, once filled with squabble, now quivers in awe and fear. He raises no voice. He expels no command. Yet in that stillness, authority manifests. With only his presence, he reshapes reality. A divine force that doesn't demand submission, it elicits it. But while Skypia shook under thunder, far below, a shadow was already walking the skies. And every step he took carried a different kind of fear. Doflamingo skywalks into Punk Hazard. The air above Punk Hazard is thick with smoke and tension. Caesar's defeat has shaken the balance and the island is on edge. Then a shadow appears in the sky. He doesn't rush, he strolls.
お前ら、そいつを仕留めておけ。今行く。
Each step is casual, light, but terrifying in what it represents. Soldiers on the ground stare upward, unsure if they should run or pray. The warlord lands without impact, as though the island itself is welcoming him. His sunglasses glint, his smile wider than it should be. Power curling at his fingertips like promises of pain. No greetings, no speeches, just presence. The soldiers know it instantly. There's no escape. Doflamingo laughs, low and cruel, his voice carrying across the battlefield. It isn't loud. It doesn't have to be. The tone alone tells them everything. He isn't here to talk. He's here to end things. And with every casual step, the island sinks further into fear. As Punk Hazard sank deeper into fear, on another shore a single blade was being drawn, and its edge would reveal the weight of the man holding it. Zoro unleashes Enma for the first time. The coast of Wano is quiet, broken only by the clash of steel. When Zoro draws Enma, the sword's hunger for haki visibly drains his right arm, forcing him to push through that weakness to command it. Energy floods from Zoro's arm into the blade, as if the sword itself is drinking his strength. He swings once, just once. The strike doesn't touch the trees, but they fall anyway. sliced clean by a force that moved faster than sight. Gasps ripple across the battlefield. Even seasoned samurai know what they've just witnessed isn't ordinary swordsmanship. This is something else entirely. Zoro breathes heavily, gripping the hilt tighter, his arms strained and scarred by the sword's hunger, yet his eyes burn with something fiercer than fear. He isn't overwhelmed, he's excited, because if this blade can take everything from him, he intends to master it. Enma doesn't just cut, it tests the soul of the one who wields it. And Zoro has just accepted the challenge. And as Zoro accepts the weight of his new blade, in another arena, a different fire is about to be claimed. One that carries the memory of a brother. Sabo claims the Mera Mera no Mi. The Colosseum is chaos. Fighters scream, steel clashes, dust rises. Everyone is here for the same prize, the Mera Mera no Mi. The legacy of Fire Fist Ace. The Mera Mera no Mi rests on the fighting fish's back at the edge of the ring. Its presence alone ignites the crowd's feral energy. To eat it is to inherit flames that once shook the world. To claim it is to stand in Ace's shadow. And then, from the smoke, a figure appears. The crowd doesn't recognize him. To them, he is just another contender. Sabo doesn't pause. As the fighting fish surges beneath him, he smashes open the chest strapped to its back, retrieves the Mera Mera no Mi. For a moment, he holds it in his hands, studying the flame-like swirls that cover its skin. And then he bites. The transformation is immediate. Fire erupts around him, curling across the arena like a living thing. The stone floor glows under the heat. The air trembles with energy. He clenches his fist, and a torrent of fire roars upward, painting the sky in orange. Gasps ripple through the Colosseum. This is more than a new power awakening. This is a ghost returning. The same flames that once belonged to Ace now blaze again, in the hands of his brother. The audience doesn't know his name. They don't know his story. But they know, instinctively, that something historic has just happened. Sabo doesn't give a speech. He doesn't announce his claim. He lets the flames do the talking. And in their roar, a truth is undeniable. Ace may have fallen, but his will is alive. And as fire is reborn in the Colosseum, far across the seas, another force awakens, not warmth, but hunger, tearing everything in its path apart. Big Mom's rage entrance. Whole Cake Island trembles, the soldiers scatter, the homies scream, the earth itself seems to cry out. Something is coming, and it is not a storm, not a quake. It is hunger. Big Mom. Her scream splits the air. It's not just a voice, it's a force. A tidal wave of fury that shatters windows and crushes resolve. The Yonko doesn't walk into the battlefield. She erupts into it. Her massive frame tears through buildings as if they're made of paper. Her hair flares like fire, her eyes blaze with madness, and her roar makes even her own children recoil. This isn't calculated power, it's chaos unleashed. When her hunger takes hold, reason vanishes and nothing is spared. Soldiers fall not because she strikes them, but because the sheer pressure of her aura crushes their courage. She swings her blade with wild, merciless strength, every strike cracking the ground. Homies scatter, allies scramble, and enemies can do nothing but run. The battlefield isn't a battlefield anymore. It's her kitchen, and everything in it is food. Her rage isn't a strategy, it's instinct. The unstoppable hunger of a Yonko who will never be satisfied. And in those moments, it's clear. She isn't just a captain or a conqueror, she's a calamity. Big Mom doesn't make an entrance, she devours it. And as Whole Cake Island trembles under her hunger, far away another war reaches its peak. A Yonko raises the sea itself, only for an admiral to bring it crashing still. Aokiji freezes Whitebeard's tsunami. Marineford is already a battlefield, but when Whitebeard moves, the entire war changes. He slams his Basento into the air, and the sea itself rises. A wall of water towers over the island, a tsunami so massive it threatens to swallow the Navy whole. For a heartbeat, everyone stares upward, frozen not by hockey, but by awe. If it crashes down, Marineford will be gone. And then, another figure rises into the sky. The Admiral doesn't shout. He doesn't warn. He simply spreads his arms, and the temperature plummets. Ice Age! In an instant, the impossible happens. The roaring tsunami, an unstoppable force of nature, solidifies mid-air. The water freezes where it stands, sculpted into mountains of ice that glitter above the battlefield. The Marines cheer in relief. The pirates gasp in disbelief. One Yonko raised the ocean, but one admiral stopped it cold. Aokiji lands softly on the frozen sea, his breath misting in the air. His calm expression never changes, as if halting the end of the world was routine. The clash between Yonko and admirals isn't about numbers, it's about scale. And in that moment, the battlefield realizes what they are witnessing. When Whitebeard raises the sea, Aokiji freezes it. It is balance, painted in ice. And as the ocean freezes into silence, on another battlefield, a lone figure climbs to the roof, carrying with him the promise to shatter an emperor. Luffy's entrance on Onegashima's roof. The battle on the rooftop rages. The worst generation stand bloodied and exhausted against the two emperors of the sea. Lightning cracks, fire spreads, the island shakes under the weight of Kaido and Big Mom. And then, from below, footsteps climb. He walks forward, hat tilted low, his coat torn, his eyes steady. No panic, no fear, only resolve. The air shifts. The allies look up with relief. The emperors pause, recognizing a presence that has grown heavier since the last time they saw him. He doesn't waste words, he doesn't rush. He stops in the center of the rooftop, facing Kaido directly. I came here to defeat you. The line hangs in the air, quiet but absolute. It isn't bluster, it isn't bravado, it's a promise. The battlefield freezes. For a heartbeat, even the wind stops moving. Because in that moment, everyone realizes Luffy hasn't come to survive, he's come to end it. No fanfare, no spectacle, just a declaration that shakes the rooftop more than any thunder. Monkey D. Luffy has arrived. These entrances aren't just moments in a story, they're turning points. Kaido crashing from the sky, Shanks ending a war with a single line, Luffy laughing as the world bends around him. Each one reminds us that presence can be as powerful as any punch. Some shook the seas, some silenced entire battlefields. And some, like Luffy's, carried the weight of destiny itself. Because in One Piece, it's not always about who's the strongest. It's about who can make the world stop just by showing up.